Markets are finally on the move again after weeks of consolidating. So in today's SMC Outlook video, I am sharing my exact trade plan for the DXY, the euro, the pound, the Australian dollar, and also gold for next week. So you guys aren't going to want to miss this because again, markets are finally moving after weeks of going sideways. And I have a pretty clear idea of what's going on next week. So my name is Justin Mehta, full-time trader and founder of Daily Price Action. As always, all of this is my opinion only and not financial advice. So let's start here with the DXY on the daily time frame. So if you guys have seen recent videos, you know that this back here, we've talked about this now for months, how this close right back here below these lows. Again, this is the daily chart. So this goes all the way back to those 2025 lows back here. In 2026, what happened is we closed below here, making these the external highs. Now we closed above it over here. Now this is very slight. However, on the euro, as we've talked about now for months, the euro gave a close below its respective low of over 50 pips. Okay, so very convincing. So following this bullish change of character right here, what this means is that following this move lower, we had sideways action. This right here gave us the clue that the US dollar was turning bullish. Okay, and so far what you can see is from this low down here, this is now potentially a higher low forming, okay? So you can also see where the market recently broke out from this channel. So there have been a lot of factors, guys, pointing to the potential for a move higher from the DXY, and I still think that's the case, just given the chart pattern here over the past really year, okay, of sideways action with that change of character. So this is the beauty of SMC, is that even though the market is sideways, even though it looks like there's no direction here, technically speaking, okay, from a structure standpoint, we did have the close above these highs back here. So this market is technically bullish from an SMC standpoint, okay? Now looking at the 4-hour time frame, let's talk about this here, because obviously on Friday we got a big move up. And by the way, guys, I did call a euro short on Friday in Discord from 1.159. Okay, so this isn't after the fact stuff. I did call out the euro as a potential short trade when the market was trading quite a bit higher on Friday. Okay, so we talk about this stuff in real time in Discord. I'll get to that later in the video. But right now for the DXY, what we can see here is that we never got the pullback down here into this imbalance. Okay, so we had the move up, we had the breakout from this channel here, and we never got the move down here into this region before the move higher. Now, that just shows you how strong this market is though at the moment, following the consolidation here, and then you can see the breakout on Friday. Now, one area to watch next week, okay, is going to be this area around 100.5. Now, you can see where these highs right back here. Okay, so the highs from March of this year, these are going to come in right there around this area as well. So you can see how we have these highs right back here. And then we also have the top of this very early ascending channel, okay? So you can see lows down here, low right here, and this high. You can see where this kind of intersects right there with 100.5, which again are the highs back here from March. So in my opinion, if you are shorting the euro, the pound, the Australian dollar, even gold, then this up here is going to be an area not necessarily to go out and blindly short the US dollar, but this could be an area where we could see the US dollar pull back a little bit following this Friday breakout, okay? So in my opinion, this is the area to watch up here. We do have imbalances now forming on this move up on Friday. There is still about 15 minutes left on Friday, which is why you see the market moving. But if this stands, okay, if these candles down here, if this stands before we get the retest up here, in other words, if we see the move up here toward this area first, then pockets like this down here could be prime for a retest down here in this region before we get a continuation, okay? So just keep that in mind, that 100.5 is the area to watch, but longer term, like I've said now for months, the DXY here, the US dollar index, does look bullish with this change of character. And look, longer term, guys, I've talked about this as well, but longer term, going back here to 2025, look at the imbalance. I mean, yes, we have pockets back here as well of imbalances, right? But look at this imbalance back here. This is the one around 106 that I've really had my eye on now for months. And following the change of character, okay, that we had in early 2026, this right back here, in my opinion, I don't mean to forecast here, but in my opinion, looking at this and then looking at imbalances like this back here, right, this change of character could open up levels like 106, either late 2026 or into 2027. Again, I'm not trying to forecast this because it's a level by level market, as all markets are, but that right there, this change of character could set up levels like 106 over the next 6 to 12 months. Okay, so let's move along here to the euro. Now, this is the one that on Friday, okay, I did mention this in Discord. So this was the idea right back here. I mentioned this at around 9:13 a.m. on Friday Eastern time. And at the time, the market was actually trading up here around 1.15899, okay? And what I told members here was that this could be a short opportunity for the move down there toward 115, possibly lower, okay? And you can see where when this was posted, you can see where the euro on the 4-hour time frame was trading back here in this area, okay? So right around this area here. We had a 4-hour close below the bottom of this channel. Note what we tested right here on the very next candle. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys this because this isn't just about after the fact stuff, making YouTube videos and talking about it in hindsight. I also call this stuff out in real time in Discord. Okay, we talk about this stuff in real time in Discord, throughout the day, Monday through Friday. Now, if you want to see how I do this for free, then check out the link right here on the screen. That's going to be a free SMC training that's going to show you exactly how I trade SMC full time. That is completely free, 2 hours of content that you will not find on YouTube. Beyond that, you will have the chance to join us in Discord if you want for my help with your trading, also the full SMC course, and you're also going to see my trades in real time. Okay, so let's get back here to the euro on the 4-hour time frame. So we've had the breakdown of this channel, right? This bearish channel that formed here, this bearish flag pattern that did form, and we got the breakdown on Friday. Now, like the DXY, we do have these imbalances forming up here. Okay, and we also have, you can see this pocket right down here. This is what I told members on Friday, that if I were going to target something here for the euro, it would be this pocket down here below 115. So basically between 1.15 and 1.1475. And the reason for that is you can see this displacement that occurred back here. We did see a pullback. However, we have not fully mitigated this fair value gap back here. Okay, so this is going to be a pocket that I would keep an eye on, not necessarily for a buy, just because, like I said, if you look at this on the daily time frame, we've talked about this for a long time, but you can see where we had higher highs and higher lows in 2025. We went sideways. We had the BOS up here. We then had the bearish change of character. So following this right here, you can see lower highs, right? So you don't want to be, in my opinion, you don't want to be buying down here. If anything, you're waiting for a bounce into premium, okay, to get short. All right, just my opinion, not financial advice. But when you look at the 4-hour time frame, again, if we were to get a bounce from down here in this area, this pocket, okay, from down here in this region, then you're looking for, or I'm looking for, shorts against any mitigations of these buy side imbalances, okay, to potentially look for a lower time frame shift to once again get short and target lows like these down here. Okay, so shorts only for me right now, guys, on the euro. But as my rules say, I have to short from premium. I can't short from discount. So areas like this down here are ones to watch next week for a potential bounce up here into premium to then get short. So as always, I will be sure to update Discord members in real time as this unfolds. All right, so for the pound, this one's really interesting, guys, because even though the market has been very sideways, what I talked about in my last video on the pound is, if you saw that, you can see here on the 4-hour time frame, you might be looking at this and thinking, well, this right here is not a change of character, right? This is just a wick. Well, this right here is a change of character on the 1-hour time frame. So what I talked about in the last video way back here was that you can see where we had the pound give us a bearish change of character, okay? So closing below this low down here, you can see we had the BOS over here, okay, making this the external low. And then if we go over here, you can see where we got the close below. Okay, very convincing, very aggressive move. So that was our change of character. Now within this, okay, we have all of this internal price action. But what told you that this move up, okay, internally was failing was this right here, okay, the close below. Because what you can see is that all of this right here from this high over here, this was our BOS, making this the external low or protected low. That got taken out right here. So the point here is that if you were getting bullish on this move, okay, this price action right here, you weren't paying attention to this. And this is what I talked about in the last video. Okay, so this right here, that little close right there, guys, was the indication that we flipped bearish. Now, another thing here is we talk about premium, discount, and OTE, or optimal trade entry, a lot. And what you can see here is that from the high to low, notice the dark green area, which is OTE. This is the area between the 62% and 79% retracement. And you can see that following this change of character back here, what we got was the pound coming up here into OTE here, once again through here. So you can see how well this worked in terms of where the market tapped into before it reversed. Okay, so looking now for next week. All right, well, what can we see from the pound here moving forward? So you can see where off of this low, right? The key distinction here is that off of this low here, you could call this a BOS. However, this is also internal. Okay, so all of this here, this BOS, this change of character, this BOS, this is all internal to the price action, right? From this high up here, down here to the low. Okay, so high, low. All of this right here is internal to that. And you can see that clearly all of this is taking place between this high, these highs back here, and this low. So that's an important distinction because even though you could call this here a BOS, right, it's only an internal BOS to that structure we just looked at. All right, so if we get the pound moving higher early next week, then you've got imbalances like this back here, right? In which case, that right there looking for a lower time frame shift could give you a target of this low right down here, okay? Now, let me tell you, the larger play though, that is much more interesting is if you go to a 4-hour time frame and you look at this low right back here, okay? Because if we take this out here, then this gives us a new BOS, right? In which case, what you're doing is you are looking for premium. So from this high up here, down here to the low, wherever we might land, right? Let's just assume for a minute that we come back here and mitigate this imbalance. Okay, so if we come down here toward this area, right, and then rally, what you're looking for is a move up here into premium to once again get short, okay? So that is the more interesting play in my opinion, because you're no longer dealing with this really tight price action. Instead, you have a lot more room here to play with, okay? So that's what I'm looking for next week. Again, we don't know where the market's gonna bottom out down here or if it's even gonna break this low, but 1.33 is the low to watch. Break that, we have a new BOS, and we can then start watching for short opportunities on that low that forms, okay? So I know that might sound confusing, but it just depends, guys, on where this market bottoms out down here in terms of how we draw our fibs and where premium comes in. Okay, but just like the euro, it's shorts only here for me, just because I am bullish longer term on the DXY. All right, so Australian dollar, this one too is very interesting in the sense that we did have the market actually break the high back here. So this gave us a full pullback down here. So what you'll notice is that on this move up, right, a lot of displacement back here, we had some very shallow pullbacks. This gave us that full pullback down here into this imbalance, right, as we talked about months ago. Now, recently, okay, this is the price action I want to show you, because what you can see here is that the imbalance for this market really comes in down here around 69.50, okay? So for next week, what you can see is that we did get the Australian dollar punching below this low here. So this is technically the BOS, okay? So if we map this out, what happened back here is we had this high here, we had the BOS above, right? Close above. Now, this was the protected low. Following that BOS, we had the change of character right over here. So just like the pound, guys, this right here, this close below, this low right here, told you that this move was likely to fail, okay? And what we've now had is a BOS below this, okay? So now we have a break of structure below showing us continuation to the downside. So for the Australian dollar, we have the imbalance down here around 69.50. We have this BOS right here. So if next week, right, let's just assume that we get the market bouncing from current levels or a bit below, then what we are looking at is a move up here into premium to get short. Now, the thing we don't know, and the thing we don't have to guess at, is where this market bottoms, right? Is this going to be the bottom? Is this going to be the bottom down here? Or will it be lower? We don't know that, and we don't have to guess. Okay, we just have to wait for the market to give us signs that the bottom, the short-term bottom, is in order to come up here, mitigate some of these imbalances, and then look for shorts on the way down, okay? So again, this is the imbalance back here in this region around 69.50 that I would use as a short-term target for this market following this BOS here on Friday. And I am looking for shorts against that. It's just a matter of, do we, like I said, short-term bottom here or a bit lower, and then looking for shorts against a mitigation of those imbalances, possibly around like 7,100 or so. All right, so we will see what we get early next week. All right, so let's wrap things up here with gold XAUUSD. So what I've talked about now for weeks, guys, a very long time, is back here in April. What you'll notice is that we had, first of all, actually, let's go back even before that. This right here, this close below the low back here, this told me that this pullback was alive and well. Okay, there was no sign of a bottom because we did take out that low. So that was the very first thing. I always knew that this move up was likely to fail. All we were doing was mitigating this imbalance back here, which we did. And the key or the clue really for this pullback here to continue was the BOS here. Okay, so BOS above this high, protected low down here. We took that out through here. Okay, so once we had this change of character, we knew that this pullback was likely to continue. Now, it's taken its time. It's been a pretty choppy market, as have most markets out there. But what you'll notice is that we had the BOS here, right? Lower high. Now, what we've had here on Friday is you could technically call things like this here a BOS as well, okay? Now, it's a little bit debatable just because this BOS right here, you can see where we really never got the pullback up here in the premium, okay? I was looking for a move up here into this area to watch for a short. We obviously never got that. We got some very shallow pullbacks here following this BOS. But really for now, the same rules apply, right? We've got now this imbalance here on Friday. So with this break below the low, it's really the same rules here for XAUUSD. And that is that I'm looking for shorts against areas like this back here, this imbalance, okay? So if next week, whether we bottom here or we bottom a bit lower, I'm looking for a push up here into this imbalance and then possibly look for a short term or a low time frame change of character to get short. Now, as for my target, that really is also unchanged, okay? So if we go back here to the hourly time frame, go all the way back here toward this low, what you're going to notice here is that we have this displacement out of this low. Okay, hang on a sec. I lost my place here. We have the displacement out of this low. And so this region back here, okay, really below 4,300 is going to be the area I'm watching. Now, specifically, if you'll notice this 1 hour candle right back here. So if I draw a line across here, okay, so about halfway down this wick, this is what I'm watching here. And I've talked about this now for weeks. If you go out here to something like a 30-minute or a 15-minute time frame, you're going to notice how there was a lot of displacement out of this low. Okay, so out of this low, we got a pretty significant move up here. This is all an imbalance back here. So really 4,160, 4,200, that is going to be the target. Okay, so the way this looks is if we go to an hourly time frame, now that we have that marked, you can see this is the area right down here. Okay, so if we get the push early next week into imbalances like this, again, we have the break below the low. We have this imbalance down here. I'm looking for lower time frame change of character to potentially get short, targeting areas like 4,160, 4,200. Okay, obviously no guarantee that happens, but that is what I'm looking for gold going into next week. Okay, so nothing crazy, no crazy predictions here for gold, just because even though the downtrend is intact, it has also been a very sideways market. I mean, a lot of chop, through here recently, and even the price action here over the past few months is also very sideways. Okay, so I do think though, with this continuation on Friday, we are likely to get the push down here into candles like this from back here in March. And obviously what would negate that is if next week, okay, so following this close below here on the hourly, following the close below, if we were to get the market coming up here and taking out this high, okay, this is the high that now has to hold right around 4,600. As long as we are below that though, I am looking for shorts only on gold. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. I hope it helped. Keep it locked in here. Subscribe to the channel. Also, check out the video right here where I walk you through my exact SMC strategy. I hope it helps. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you again on Monday.